Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Welcome to my breakdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're new to my channel, there's this button right down here. See it? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Now, here's how my channel works. I break down what I like. Then I break down what I don't like, but stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if you should put action down on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let's just jump right in here. What do I like? Well, first thing I like about the Pittsburgh Steelers is Ben Roethlisberger. This is a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. This is a guy who's going to be in Canton. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. This is a guy. Now, here's the thing. I think quarterbacks get way too much credit by fans and the media for the team's success or lack of success. I mean, wins are associated with quarterbacks. I mean, should you argue that it should be associated with different players? Sure, but you can argue that, but it's not. I mean, wins and losses basically are a quarterback statistic, whether you want to admit it or not. Now, like I said, I'm going to go on record. I think quarterbacks get way too much blame. I think they get way too much credit. But bottom line, wins and losses are a quarterback statistic. Well, since Ben Roethlisberger has entered the league, his starting record is 144, 69, and 1. Basically, he wins twice as many games as he loses. His one losing season was 7-8. So since he's been in the leagues, which is 2004, he's only had one losing season, and that's 7-8. That's really good. He has a 13-8 playoff record with 2 Super Bowl wins. Whether you like Ben Roethlisberger or whether you don't like Ben Roethlisberger, he wins. Plain and simple, Ben Roethlisberger wins. And last year, and now he's always been known to have some injury issues, but last year he started all 16 games, threw for 5,129 yards and 34 touchdowns at age 36. So at age 36, he throws for a career high in passing yards. What else do you want from the guy? The guy wins. The guy has statistics. The guy's won Super Bowls. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame whenever he retires. I think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know. A lot of things will factor into that, but bottom line, he's going to be in Canton. Second thing I like is Mike Tomlin. It's actually funny because I remember, I think it was 2016, Chiefs and Steelers were going to play in the playoffs, and I was talking to a Cowboys fan, and I was trying to debate, Chiefs are going to win this game. I think I was trying to convince myself more than I was trying to convince him, and he, I think Tomlin's a better coach than Andy Reid. Now, it's really hard to argue this because as a longtime Dallas Cowboy fan, he played against the Eagles. The Eagles coached by Andy Reid. So this is a guy who doesn't have a dog in the fight. He thought Tomlin was a better coach than Andy Reid. I disagree. But bottom line, the guy's been a head coach for 12 years. Not even one losing season. There's a guy by the name of Bill Belichick. He's had a losing season. Did you know that? Do you know how many how many head coaches are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that have had losing seasons? Tomlin hasn't. 12 years, not even one. That's really hard to say. Now, keep in mind, I just got done saying that about Roethlisberger, but bottom line, these two guys have worked together for the last 12 years, and they haven't had one season that's been a losing season. That's really, really hard to do. Third thing I like is I like their draft. Now, keep in mind, I did think that they reached for Devin Bush. They traded from 20 up to 10. But bottom line, this is a really good player. It's a 3-down linebacker. Some people are bothered that he's 5'11". I don't think that really factors into it. The guy runs a 4.43. If you watch him play at Michigan, this guy makes plays all over the field. This is exactly what you need. But I really liked some of the later picks after Bush. Deontay Johnson, it's very funny because he's built almost exactly like Antonio Brown. This was one of the Antonio Brown picks. And he also went and played at Toledo, a Mid-America conference school. Keep in mind, Antonio Brown went to Central Michigan. Well, this kid went to Toledo. And he also could have gone a lot higher than the third round, but he didn't test well at the combine. But his production was off the charts. So this is a guy I think that will contribute. Justin Lane, I saw some mock drafts going up into not very many that he could have gone late first. This is a plus athlete with good size and speed. Keep in mind, Artie Burns has not worked out. So this is a guy who could replace Artie Burns. after this year, or he could replace Joe Hayden, whose contract's going to be up after this year. This is a really good player, and you get him in the mid-third round. That's really good value. One of my draft crushes is Benny Snell. Now, I don't think Benny Snell's a good fit for all teams, but he's perfect for the Steelers. For those of you who don't know, Benny Snell is Kentucky's all-time leading rusher. Powerful runner. I think 5'10", 5'11", 225, 230. Between the tackles runner. I mean, this guy isn't going to be breaking 70, 80 yards down the field. This guy's more of a guy who's going to get 4 and 5 yards a carry. This guy's going to get first downs, and he's going to get touchdowns. I think he's a great fit for what the Steelers are going to do, because keep in mind, I just got done. Roethlisberger threw for 5,129 yards. Give me a guy who can handle 20, 25, 30 carries a game and get you those first downs. Give me a guy who can fall forward. Give me the guy who get those tough yards. And that's what this guy does. Is this guy going to be a guy, who's going to have Le'Veon Bell type of numbers? Absolutely not. He's not that type of player. But is he a durable, tough runner? Yes, he is. And you get him in the 4th round. I think that's a great fit for the Steelers here. And next thing I like about the Steelers is their organization. If you give me 5 NFL organizations that run better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to call you a liar. There's no such thing. The Steelers organization, top to bottom, is as good, if not the best run organization in the NFL. Bottom line, I'm not a Steelers fan, okay? I am not a Steelers fan. I'm probably more the opposite. I dislike the Steelers. I was born in Baltimore. I'm a Chiefs fan. I got a lot of reasons not to like the Steelers, but bottom line, their organization is run as good, if not better, than any other NFL organization. Just top to bottom. And look at the history. They give their coaches long. They hire coaches to keep them around for a long time. I remember Bill Cowher had a couple losing seasons. I think 25, maybe 30 NFL teams would have just given him the axe. The Steelers knew better than wait, and he ended up winning them a Super Bowl. Not all NFL teams have this type of organization. Matter of fact, I don't think any organization can definitely say, hey, we'll run better than the Steelers. I don't think there's any team that can really say that. Last thing, and I cannot emphasize this enough, I am not a Steelers fan, but a couple of years ago, they played at Arrowhead, and now keep in mind, the Chiefs were 1-4 at the time. Jamal Charles tore his ACL late in a loss against the Bears, so a lot of Chiefs fans were down. There was at least 30,000 Steelers fans. It was me, my dad, and my sister, and a whole row of Steelers fans. And Chiefs fans, you want to get mad at this, go back and watch the tape. There's as much black and gold at Arrowhead as there was red that game. Chiefs actually won that game. Bottom line, any road game the Steelers play in, there's always Steelers fans. There's a minimum of 5,000 to 10,000 in every road game. You could always see the Steelers fans out there. And the guys I sat next to, those guys were jerks. I can sit here and I can tell you, they were real jerks. I almost got into it. This one guy, and you know what the worst part is? He was being a jerk, and he had 2 small kids. I'm not the best judge of ages, but I'm going to say under 8. So you're being a jerk. You got 2. Okay. Bottom line, Steelers fans are everywhere, like cockroaches. Can't find them. They're everywhere. Okay. Enough of that. So, recap what I like about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Big Ben, Hall of Fame quarterback. Started all 16 games last year, threw for over 5,000 yards. Only had 1 losing season since 2004. And now 7-8. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season, 12 years as head coach. I liked what they did in the draft. They got some really good players and some good value. They did overdraft or reach for Devin Bush. Guy's perfect fit for what you need to do. So I like the move. First-rate organization, and their fans travel as well, if not better than any other fan base in the NFL. So let's talk about what I don't like now. I'm not a fan of their defense. It's actually funny because when I first started doing research on this video, I actually expected their defense to be a lot worse. They were 16th in points given up, which is half, exactly half. You're top half or bottom. 16th. It's right in the middle. It's not terrible. It dropped from 7th in 2017, and there's some holes in this defense. I'm going to talk about some of this here in just a bit, but their secondary is not very good. There's the Steelers that won Super Bowls Want it on good defense. This defense is not good. Even if you're the most die-hard Steelers fan, you can't sit here and tell me, oh, man, our defense, oh, yeah, we're just going to come in and shut you down. You can't say that. It used to be that way. A couple of years ago, you could fear the Steelers defense. You don't fear Steelers defense. And second thing that I don't like about Steelers is you lost your best player. All right, and you can tell me that he did a lot of crazy things. Some of his antics were distracting. Didn't get along with everybody. Him and Ben Roethlisberger. But bottom line, look, just on paper, you're losing 104, 1297, and 15. That's 104 receptions for 1297 yards and 15 touchdowns. You're losing a guy who, over the last several years, has been the most productive wide receiver in football. You don't like the guy, fine. I get that, but look on paper. You're going to replace this. That's what you're going to do. I'm sorry, Antonio Brown was your best player. If you want to tell me, well, Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm not hearing that. I think the guy's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. Is he as good as Antonio Brown? No, he's not, and that's very much obvious. So I don't like that you just lost this guy. I understand the circumstances. Maybe you had to. He forced his way out. Didn't want to be there. Bottom line, you have to find a way to replace 104, 1297, and 15. Okay. Third thing I didn't like, and I could have broke this down in two different subcategories, but questionable free agent spending. The Steelers don't do this. The Steelers kind of approach this offseason completely differently than they've done in the past. Trading up, that's not something they usually do, especially from 20 to 10. That's a very un-Steeler-like thing to do. Drafting in the top 10, that's very rare for the Steelers, period. And then being very aggressive in free agency. And some of the money they spend, it's like, huh? I'm telling you, okay, I said I'm a Chiefs fan. We drafted Steven Nelson in the third round a couple of years ago. I watched his whole career as of right now. The Steelers gave him 3 years, $25.5 million. He's listed as starting corner on both Our Lads and ESPN. Bottom line, if he's your third or fourth best corner, you're not in bad shape. If he's your one or two, you're in terrible shape. And nothing against Steven Nelson, a guy who I really liked here in Kansas City. He's not a number one corner. He's not even close. All right, and you're giving now. I don't think he's number one corner because you gave him 3 years, $25.5 million. That's a lot of money. That's number two money. All right, if you gave him over $10 million a year, that's one money, and it's close. But if you're counting on Steven Nelson to shore up your defense, that's a mistake. I'm just telling you that right now. You need to do more than just Steven Nelson, who I think is a fine player. Honestly, if the Chiefs gave him 3 years and $15 million, I would have been like, man, that's too much. So 25.5, oh, wow. Okay. You gave 2 years, $9 million for Dante Moncrief. Good athlete, never produced, $4.5 million a year. Hopefully you're not banking him on because, the stats I just gave for Antonio Brown, the 104, 1297 to 15, he's good for maybe a third of that, maybe half, really maybe half. And then Mark Barron, you gave him 2 years, $12 million. After he was cut, and both Our Lads and ESPN have him as a backup. You're giving $6 million a year for a backup? You got other holes. I just mentioned secondary. I know he's playing like a pseudo safety hybrid linebacker type of player. He was a safety coming out of Alabama, and he struggled, so he put him as a linebacker because he played good in the box. So, I don't know how creative you're going to get, but after this guy was cut, you had to give him $6 million a year. I think it's rare that the Steelers do this. So what I don't like is that I don't like the moves, but I also like that it goes against what you've done in the past. It kind of reeks of desperation. Now, I did a video on Green Bay where they did something different. I liked what they did. Most news media also agrees with me. Most news, I don't. If you're the most diehard Steelers fan, do you really like these moves? You tell me. Show me in the comments that hey, these are great moves. This is going to help us get back into the playoffs. Okay, I was bothered that they're going out of what they normally do, and some of the moves weren't very good. Last thing I don't like, and it's kind of hard to exactly put what specifically I don't like about it, but bottom line, here you were a couple of years ago, you had Todd Haley, now I know because he was the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs for a while, he's not an easy guy to get along with. Okay, I understand that. And then Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and here's the deal, though. You're on the verge of winning a Super Bowl, and all three of these guys leave under weird circumstances. I mean, in 2016, you get to the AFC Championship game. In 2017, you go 13-3. Then you lose Le'Veon Bell and Todd Haley. And then this year, you don't make the playoffs, and then you lose Antonio Brown. And here's the thing. All three of these guys left under weird circumstances. Todd Haley goes to Cleveland, which was a dumpster fire. And did you watch the Hard Knocks? Did you see how well he got along with those coaches? All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably -7. I mean, him and Greg Williams, I thought we were going to get in a fist fight. And then, I just drew a blank on his name here. The head coach of Cleveland who got fired. I am so embarrassed. Bottom line, you know what? I'm not talking about Cleveland anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But bottom line, he told both Todd Haley and Greg Williams, hey, when you're in the coach's chair like I am, you gotta make these. Both these guys had more head coaching experience than I am so embarrassed. I'm just drawing a blank. But you know what? This isn't about Cleveland. It's about Pittsburgh. But to recap, what I don't like about the Steelers. There's a lot of holes in this defense, all right? Yeah, there's some good things. They weren't as bad as I thought, but they were 16th in points, and the secondary is still not very good. You lose your best player in Antonio Brown. If you want to argue that he's not their best player, sure, I'll hear that. But bottom line, you're losing 104, 1297, and 15. That's tough. I don't care who you are. Questionable free agent moves, and it's something that outside their norm, which reeks of desperation. And then it's just strange how you're so close to winning a Super Bowl and you have a really good offensive coordinator, arguably the best running back in football, top three, and then arguably the best receiver in football, top three, all leave, and all three leave under weird circumstances. It's just bizarre. So, hey, would I say stick around to the end while I was talking about the Vegas over-under and if you should put action down on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, bottom line, out of all the teams I've done, this is without question the hardest one because of all the teams I've broken down, the over-under I think is perfect. It's 9. And when I broke down the Steelers' schedule, I got them 9-7. So I can't do a push because I told you I'd say which one. But would I put action on the Steelers? I would avoid the Steelers. Don't bet on the Steelers. That's just my humble opinion. Now, the over is -125, which means you have to wager $125 to win 100. The under is +105, which means if you wager $100, you win 105. Vegas likes the over. More people are putting action on the over. So, Dan, over-under on the Steelers. Well, here's the deal. They were 9-6-1 last year. I don't think they're as good on paper this year as they were last year. Plain and simple, they're not. And bottom line, all dynasties do come to an end. All streaks come to an end. Mike Tomlin eventually will have a losing season, more than likely, unless he retires on top. It's happened. But how many NFL players have I seen end their careers on bad notes? How many? Jimmy Johnson. Look at his last game. He lost 62-7. So there's lots of players, lots of coaches that end their careers on bad notes. But bottom line, when I break down the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, I had it 9. So if it's under, it's 8, which means they're an average team. 8-8, 500 team. I don't see it. I will not put money on the Pittsburgh Steelers being a 500 team. I just don't see it. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback, a good head coach, some holes on defense, but you also have some young talent on the defense. You had 52 sacks last year. So this is not a team that's terrible on defense. My Chiefs went to the AFC Championship game. They had a bad defense. Steelers' defense was better than the Chiefs last year. So if I had to bet on this team, I would bet the over. But this is really, really tough. I would avoid betting on the Steelers because I could see them falling apart. They're not as good on paper anyway as the 9-6-1 team that they were last year. But if you want to bet on the Steelers being a 500 ball club, I've watched enough football over the years. I've watched enough Pittsburgh Steelers. They're better than a 500 team. So listen, hey, if you're new to Andrews, or let me thank all my subscribers. All right. Thank you for subscribing to Andrews Football. You know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But if you're new to my channel, there's this button right down here. I blew it up for you. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams will come true if you subscribe to my channel. I got some awesome content right here. Hey, listen, Friday, I start breaking down playoff teams, starting with the Seattle Seahawks. I'll see you Friday.